This episode of the Kingdom of Graph is sponsored by the Autograph of the Month Club, where for just $20 a month, you can get a signed 8x10 photo in the mail. Please visit them at www.autographofthemonth.com. Listeners, prepare thyself, for you are about to witness two fine gentlemen muse upon the fandom realm, for you have ventured upon the Kingdom of Graph. Hosted by Marco Guerrero and Michael Berkowitz.
Welcome, welcome. Happy New Year, Michael.
Happy New Year, Marco.
And Happy New Year to everybody out there watching.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. We're almost out of it. Well, like some of you are out of 2020 already, but for the rest of us, we're getting there. We're almost there.
Almost there. Give me a second. We're just finishing setting this up.
We missed you guys last week for Christmas or Christmas Eve last week.
Christmas Eve was last week.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yep. How was your holidays?
Man, so good, but so busy. This was the first year, Kendall and I were talking about, this is the first year since we can remember that we did not go to a movie theater because we couldn't.
You know, that's a good thing. I think I want to talk about like the future of movie theaters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now I live about 90 minutes south of Vegas, but this summer I should be moving to Vegas. And I would really only go to the theater if it was like a major release, like one of the Star Wars movies or one of the Avenger movies. I'd go to the IMAX, right?
Yeah.
Aside from that, I really wasn't going to the theaters. So it didn't affect me all that much. I mean, the town I live in has a little theater, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has like 3 screens, but my home theater is bigger and better. So I don't know. Like it doesn't, like I have a 120 inch.
You got the big old
screen.
setup there. Yeah, you got the big old setup.
So I don't really need to go to one that's basically the same as what I got.
Mm-hmm.
With uncomfortable seats.
I do have that. So our theater here, I think it was like last year or 2 years ago. They're probably regretting it now, but they did this switch, and I know a lot of theaters did this, where they took out the normal like compact theater seating and they put in those like lounge recliners, and
Right.
they basically cut their theater capacity into a quarter of what it used to be.
Right.
But you know what? Even those seats aren't that comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to have some comfort when you're going. But the reason I was saying we could talk about it is the future of the movie theater, right?
Yeah.
With streaming services and all that kind of stuff. The box office, like it or not, has been dying for years.
Yeah, it has.
Even before COVID. I mean, the prices were just starting to get outrageous for a family to go see a movie.
Yeah, it's and you look at like you have your big blockbusters that make the company's money, but past that, you don't really have that draw.
And a majority of it actually is coming from overseas nowadays. I mean, that's why the whole Fast and Furious franchise still goes along, but it doesn't do as well here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
But overseas, it just kills.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the major point I'm getting to is, I can see Disney, Netflix, and all them buying up like AMC, Lowe's, Cinemark,
Mm-hmm.
right, and basically just adding the theater options as another option to their plate.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're a subscriber to Disney Plus, get free movie tickets in our theater. Right, you're a subscriber to this, get a discount to our theaters, right?
Yeah.
Again, the theaters themselves don't make money on the first couple weeks of the ticket sales.
Yeah.
All their money comes from concessions.
Yeah. Which, I mean, granted, they make a good amount of money on concessions. I mean,
Right.
I think the last time I looked, I think a large popcorn cost a movie theater, I think, a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they're selling a large popcorn for $8 to $10.
Right.
And
I
it
mean,
costs them a
their
quarter.
overhead's got to be huge for all that size and
Yeah. I will say though, traveling. Hey, have you done a lot of international travel?
I have not.
So, like, we went to Thailand, and I mean, everything in Thailand is like lavish. You know what I mean? Like, everything is like marble and huge. But even their movie theaters, we didn't go physically see a movie because a lot of people don't know this, or I don't know how many people know this, but a lot of movies, especially American movies, are censored overseas.
Right.
So you don't actually get to see, which is funny because I grew up, I think we've talked about this before with Dragon Ball, where I watched like this censored version of Dragon Ball. If you watched it in America originally, it was like super censored. And
Are we talking about Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z?
both. Master Roshi was like the most censored thing on TV.
I mean, Dragon Ball itself had a lot of innuendos.
Yeah, so I mean, you're talking about like the super censored, but like if you go overseas, American stuff is censored like crazy, like super crazy censorship. Hey Karen, happy New Year to you too.
Ooh, hey Karen.
But yeah, but even with that censorship, the movie theaters were these events. They're these places.
Right.
There's this draw. And so I think that's what the theaters locally were trying to do, is they're trying to, like, I know Vegas, for one, I know has these movie theaters that have waiters.
Well, yeah, I mean, that started a lot in Texas and Austin and Portland. I mean, back, 20 years ago, there was in Salem, Oregon, right?
Yeah.
They have this pub bar movie theater that would show movies a couple months after they'd been out for $5, and they had menus and waiters and food and all that. And that was like 20 some years ago still. And
Oregon, I will say, Oregon has some of the coolest, like not Southern Oregon, not where we are, but Northern Oregon, Portland area. They have some cool freaking movie theaters. They have like one of them is the entire movie theater is just filled with retro couches, and people just sit on these retro, like Victorian style or old school couches to try to have that like living room feel.
Right. But like I said, to circle back, I wouldn't be surprised in a few years if these streaming services just bought out the movie theater chains.
Yeah.
Then they don't have to worry about it. I mean, and then focus more on distribution overseas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or at least a partnership with AMC or a partnership with them. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, look, you do your thing overseas, but here, we'll go ahead and we'll subsidize you, or it, basically.
I mean, but why would they even continue that? Like, you look at Disney. So Disney, for example, with what they did with Mulan, they get straight profit. They don't have to.
Well, I mean, they would too at the movie theater.
Well, if they bought them.
If they bought them, but what it is it gives them another outlet, and also, like, I know Netflix was looking into buying a small chain even 5 years ago because the Academy Awards was giving them crap about, like, oh, your movie has to be in a theater for it to be nominated or part of the awards. And so they're like, fine, we'll go in, we'll hire some movie theater for like a month and show our stuff there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, do you remember for a while there was that, it was completely unsustainable. And I fully take responsibility for this company going out of business the way that it did. But do you remember Movie Pass?
Yeah.
The $10 a month unlimited movies in the theater?
Hey, Nicholas.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kendall and I had Movie Pass. Kendall and I, when we had Movie Pass, we probably, I would say, were at the movie theater 3 times a week minimum.
Right.
Minimum. We saw every new movie. We didn't care if we wanted to see it. It was free, right? You pay $10, go to the movie theater. I think we had Cinemark's deal where You got concessions for a discount. So, or the refillable tub. So it cost us, I think, less than $10 each time we went to the movies for 2 drinks, popcorn, and to go to the movies. And we went to the movies like crazy. But that Movie Pass company, they tried to do the same thing. They actually they distributed movies as well.
Right.
The American Animals, one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, American Animals, was distributed by Movie Pass. So I can see Netflix, interestingly enough, doing what you're talking about, buying a theater and then releasing a movie in their theaters first.
Well, not only that. I mean, could you imagine? Like, I just watched, a few series this month that I wrapped up. Let's say CBS, right? I just watched the finale for Star Trek Discovery.
Okay.
But how awesome would it be to watch Star Trek Discovery in a movie theater? Say they had, say every Friday night they did a Star Trek Discovery episode in the theater, or the new Dexter. I know you just finally caught up on Dexter, right?
I did it.
What if they were airing the Dexter episodes at the theaters as well?
Yeah,
Game of Thrones.
You talk about if it's owned by CBS, then CBS can just make, they can do straight concessions, and they're making money off the concessions, and the product doesn't cost them anything.
Well, and they also get the ticket sales if they want. You know what I mean?
If they wanted to add like a ticket sale aspect to it, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you'd have to, otherwise you just to limit the amount of people that come.
Well, yeah, you'd have to have some way of reservation, but like you said, your CBS All Access can allow you to one movie theater event per week, something like that. Like if you want to go watch a show, you can go do it once per week.
And it would be cool, like especially like say you were watching Star Trek Discovery with like 300 people, and then you just all like chatted about it afterwards. So then it was the same 300 people every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they could do some really cool things if they own the movie theater chains, and I don't think it would cost them all that much.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see once the world is, I think most people's outlook is, 2020 sucked. 2021
Really?
is going to be that 2021 is going to be that let's trudge through. I feel like most people's feeling is we have to get to 2022.
I don't know, man. I think people are going to be in for a shock, because I mean, I heard just this next couple weeks there's going to be over 80,000 people passing away from COVID.
No. That's what I'm saying. I think that 2021 is going to be that. All right, we got to keep pushing, and 2022 is going to be that we're back.
And I follow a lot of the financial markets, and we're in for a huge overcorrection in a few months. The stock market's just going to tank.
Yeah.
And like I said, I follow crypto, and Bitcoin's just about to hit 30 grand. And
yeah, the Bitcoin's going insane again.
And these are all signs of like a weakening dollar. Even housing prices. I mean, I've been looking in Vegas, and normally there's about a 6-month inventory when you're looking for a house, right? You have about 6 months worth. If you sold every house, it'd take you about 6 months to sell all the houses if no new ones came on the market, right?
Yeah.
In Vegas right now, there's 1.2 months worth of inventory. And like there's just no houses for sale. Every house I look at within an hour is under contract.
Yeah, we have at our work, we have somebody who's a part-time real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
And he says within a day of a house going up, if your house is in that sweet spot of size and money, so around here it's sub 500,000. If your house is somewhere between 250 to 450,
mm-hmm.
you put it on the market and you have 18 offers in the first day.
Yep. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm looking at selling both of mine, and right now the numbers are through the roof.
I know we're buying that property in Vegas, right, to have our outdoor studio.
I'm telling you, man, that house. that's what's crazy is that there's the same thing. Like right now, my house.
That thing is like the Playboy Mansion.
It is, man. It's so nice.
It's got a grotto.
And it also had that lot right next to it to build another house.
Yeah.
But just so you know, we were talking about, I was joking with Michael that him and Kendall should come out to Vegas. We just chip in and buy like the $700,000 house that I'm looking at, and be like, all right, we're just gonna to turn this house into like whatever, like the ultimate pop culture palace.
Yeah. We have this outdoor studio for these things and for Box Pop and Beauty, and
it literally could have filmed the Pirates of the Caribbean in the backyard of that thing.
Yeah, we could have these our podcast interviews could just be people actually, celebrities coming to visit Marco to do signings and sitting there with a little Mai Tai.
Well, it's right next to the private airport too.
There you go. Just fly right in. There you go.
Well, I can have.
What's up, Marty?
I have one of my relatives in Vegas actually has a plane. We could have them go to LA, pick some people up, come back, hang out, and fly them back.
What you really need to do is you need to look at the flight time from Vegas to where'd you say, is it Vancouver, British Columbia, where all the shows are filmed?
Yeah.
Is that where you said? Yeah.
So
Marty shared some cool pickups recently in the bunker. Marty got some good stuff. But what's up, man? Good to see you.
All right. So now to double circle around. Another reason why we're talking theaters. Did you catch the Wonder Woman movie?
Yeah, I did.
So what did you think?
It was rough.
I agree. I mean, I had fun. I mean, it wasn't horrible.
It wasn't a horrible movie to watch, but it didn't do DC or that Justice League arc right. any favors.
What?
It didn't do them any favors. There was nothing. And you know what? Here's the thing. Here's how I feel about the Wonder Woman movies, and I want to know if you kind of feel the same.
Okay.
The CW shows, right?
Right.
They would do these crossover events. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, the crossover events, for the most part, don't really affect the normal series, right?
Right.
Like you have this big crossover event, and then nothing really comes of it, and it's just kind of a money thing. And that's kind of how I feel about the Wonder Woman movies, because they're doing this, let's tell her past.
Right.
So she's going to be fine. Nothing bad. I mean, like, we're not talking about like Avengers type stuff where Robert Downey Jr. is going to die.
Right.
She's not going to die. She's going to make it out because the entire Justice League thing happens. So you're kind of watching just her history, and she's going to make it through this already.
Right.
So in that small thing, you lose the excitement of what's going to happen. Does that make sense? Kind of.
It does, but at the same time, I mean, who's going in thinking that these people are going to die in most of these movies? I mean,
you know what? Some of them you get some shocks. Like there's some shock and awe about like holy crap, they did that.
Well, let me show you what I thought. Right.
Okay.
First, I want to start off with DC versus Marvel in movies. All comes down to the villains. DC can't write. They're so focused on Wonder Woman and telling her story when they don't realize that everybody knows her story. Mm-hmm. What people come to watch these movies is their struggle against a really good villain.
Yep.
Right. And let's face it, the villains in this movie sucked. I love Pedro Pascal did an amazing acting job. What's her name did an amazing acting job, but the villains themselves sucked.
What do you think about so I don't know if you've seen it. There's a lot of anger going around about the shift in Kristen Wiig's character, and that they felt that they exploited almost a LGBTQ feel in the beginning of the movie just to kind of draw you in, and then just went away from it. Have you seen that?
Again, there was no time to develop anything. I mean, they literally had 5 minutes of interaction the whole movie.
But that was the whole thing, is that you had this interaction of her helping her pick up the papers, and this like kind of like this flirtatious kind of crush that was happening. with, and I think when you talk about a character when you talk about characters that are technically basically immortal and transcend time,
Right.
a lot of those characters, if you look at the history of characters, a lot of them are basically pansexual, right? That
Right.
they form this love of people because they're around for so long.
Right. Well, that's
So
another thing.
they kind of start exploring that, and then they were like, "Nah, never mind."
I don't
we
think
got
they
time."
explored it at all. I mean, I don't even think they really started to. I think a lot of people were projecting onto it. Maybe,
Maybe.
I think Kristen Wiig's character it was more the jealousy and admiration for her. Like, oh
Yeah.
man, this girl's got her shit together, right? This girl's got everything. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
want to be her, right?
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing, is they had to set that up because, again, 5 minutes later, she's wishing, oh my God, I want to be her. Not I want to have sex with her. I want to be her.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. No, I feel it. I understand it. They
So I think
Let's
it's
see,
just projection.
Marty, you know what, Marty? I mean, if you have HBO, it's worth a watch. It's worth one watch. That's it.
Now,
It's not worth more.
but back to the whole villain thing, right? So you
Yes.
have her character again. She spends 5 minutes getting to know Gal Gadot, right? Or Wonder Woman.
Mhm.
Wonder Woman's still hung up, on some guy she knew for 10 days in the first movie, right? She again. Then you have the villain who decides, okay, I'm gonna become a genie, basically, and then all the stuff he wishes for, rather than just wishing I have all of the oil, he goes around trying to trick people and into making wishes that somehow then he can then turn around and ask for something in return, and they have to give it to him.
Yeah.
And then it makes there's no motivation. There's no well, why is he like this? I mean, sure I know they tried to play him off like a Donald Trump con man type thing for like a little bit, like a whole.
They don't even go into why the stone's killing him.
Right, like
it's just like having some adverse effect, and you're just supposed to buy that
right.
that his mortal body is struggling to contain this.
And then they throw in his son as almost like an afterthought, like, oh crap, what is his redeeming factor? Let's give him a son he ignores, and then let's go ahead and play cats in the cradle, and all of a sudden he's going to give up everything.
Yeah,
like the character development and again, what's up? Like just the worst villain concept ever. You know what I mean? And
I mean, okay. What do you feel is the best current DC movie? Because I have my.
Well, no, I'm still working on this. I still have like three other things about this movie. The other stuff about this movie, we'll come back to that. But like I said, I just want to get through again, the first thing about DC movies is their villains, right? Yeah. They keep what Marvel does is they make really good villains, and then the characters grow just by going up against these good villains, right?
We've had this conversation before about why is Batman so successful?
Because he's a villain.
It's not because of Batman, but it's not because of Batman,
right?
It's because he has arguably the best rogues gallery out there,
right. And
I mean, hands down.
Yeah. And so these villains sucked. Okay, so that's strike one against the movie. Strike two, again, was the whole, you're supposed to believe that, it's been, 30 years and she's still hung up on this guy. Okay, fine, whatever. She knew him for like a month and somehow can't get over him.
Mm-hmm.
And so she does a bunch of stupid things. 3, they don't really... They take too long to develop the part about her losing her powers.
Yeah.
Or slowly starting to lose her powers due to the wish, right? That the action sequence with the trucks, when she's going through, just looks shitty. It's the cuts were bad, the choreographing was bad, and everything was just horrible. Like the scene where when what's his name rams one truck into the other one, it's like one truck looks like it's completely standing still, but yet they're still moving at 80 miles an hour.
Well, I'm sure you've seen the memes about her lasso, how it's hanging behind her and then she crashes and it's on her hip.
There's just so many things, like the cut scenes, the choreographing on that, and then you're like, okay, I guess she's losing her power, so she'd be a little sloppy. But like the choreographing on that was horrible. It just took me out of the movie completely. Right.
But here is my problem with all that whole thing too. You have this idea, so what you just said, she's losing her power, so she's sloppy. But the entire beginning of the movie was to show what kind of person she was as her powers are building. Right. Like she's defeating these adults as a kid. Right.
And that too was a completely wasted scene.
Well, it showed she's like this prodigy, but then she can't function without her power.
Right. But the whole opening scene, right? It was about teaching her patience.
Yeah.
Right. And don't rush to make a mistake, because if you rush, you'll make a mistake, and there's no shortcuts, right?
Yeah.
But then they never followed up on that at all for the rest of the movie. Nowhere in the movie does she rush or not follow up or take shortcuts. You know what I mean? Like, there was no payoff for that opening.
I think she just told Barbara that at one point at the end. Like, you can't take a shortcut.
Okay.
Or whatever.
I think I might have dozed off a little bit at that part.
Honestly, it was, but no, you're right. I mean, there was.
It just
you got like this 3-hour movie, and you have the scene in the first 5 minutes, and then the scene in the last 5 minutes, and you're supposed to connect the two of them.
Yeah, it's just. It was
rough,
and again,
it was rough
tonally too, right?
Yeah, it was a rough movie.
It felt like 3 or 4 different movies tone wise. Yeah, like if they would have kept that 80s comic, fun vibe at the very beginning of the movie. With the mall sequence, right? Like that was the best scene. The best scene was the mall sequence. Right. And then that changes to like a darker, somber, romantic movie. Then it changes into this like wannabe action movie with a completely different. It was almost like 4 different movies.
Yeah, it was just weird.
But overall, whatever.
It's worth overall. I will say it's worth a watch.
Yeah,
it's worth a single watch. It is not worth repeating, and it's unfortunate because I do think that the first Wonder Woman was pretty good.
Shazam.
That's the best one.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hands down the best DC movie they've ever made. Is Shazam.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't even take, I just had to think. It was like, wait a second. Shazam.
Shazam is the best. You and I are in 100% agreement. DC needs to go that direction. They need to go the direction that they did with Shazam. They built the characters. They had love. They had a good villain. They had family. They had everything you needed in a movie. And you know what the best part of it is?
What?
Where does Shazam rank on the list of DC superheroes? Like, you got the list of DC superheroes, and Shazam is who gets the best movie? I mean, that's because of writing.
Yeah.
And that's because of how good Zachary Levi was in that role.
Mm-hmm. If you look at like Deadpool, you look at these movies with Zachary Levi, a lot of them are passion projects, right? Like these people want to make these movies really, really good. Where in some of these other movies, right, they just hire actors to play the roles who don't really care about the characters. Like they're not passionate about I've never read a comic book or I've never seen any of the other movies. It was like the Gwyneth Paltrow interview with what's his name, and they're like, oh yeah, let's talk about us. And remember that scene when you were in Spider-Man? She's like, I wasn't in Spider-Man. He's like, yeah, we were in Spider-Man. She's like, no, that was Iron Man, right? Like she had completely didn't even realize that she had like scenes in Spider-Man Homecoming or whatever.
Would I relate Shazam to the Marvel equivalent of Shazam? How many people knew Guardians of the Galaxy before the movie?
Probably not.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, where was that in the franchise of Marvel? And now you would I think people would be comfortable arguing that the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are probably some of the best Marvel movies that have been made.
Oh, I could. For the life of me, though, I'm trying. Yeah, they're well done because again, the passion, the writers, the actors.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I think that's what you have. There's a struggle when you have, and maybe that's what DC's problem is, because when you think of DC, you think of Batman and Superman.
Right.
That's the first to come to mind, Batman, Superman. Second to come to mind, Wonder Woman and the Flash.
Right.
Those are your big four.
The pillars.
And the pillars, and then you have Green Lantern also, but we won't talk about that travesty that they've done to that character. But so you have your pillars, and DC has stood on those pillars for so long that maybe when you bring a writer in, it's hard to have your passion outshine somebody like Batman or Superman.
Right. Well, and again, sometimes they're not even passionate. Like sometimes it's just these they get like their ego wants to take the universe and do something with it, right? You know what I mean? They want to change it. They want to do something their own, you know.
And then you also have this with these characters also. There's so much passion from the fan base with casting, and take Robert Pattinson in Batman, for example.
Right.
Look at what happened with that. Like, Robert Pattinson's a good actor. He's a really good actor.
Right.
But the studio got blitzed with criticism for casting him as Bruce Wayne.
Well, so did Ben Affleck, and so did Chris, or like all of them do. I mean, there isn't one of them that didn't. Yeah.
So, wait. Okay, Marty, who do you think is the best if Shazam is not the best? I don't know. I feel like Marty's watching this on a delay because he just now got to that part.
Could be.
So, Marty, when you catch up, you tell us what's the best if it's not Shazam.
I mean, I don't know, like, to me, I probably couldn't write anyone because I've never been that passionate. Now, I would love to write something in the Firefly universe. Like, I think, to me, if I was going to write a story in the Firefly universe, I would come at it from the Blue Sun Corporation.
Okay.
The Blue Sun Corporation somehow is the power behind the Alliance, and they're pissed. Like, their product, like it was their product that they were testing on Miranda, let's say. I mean, right? Like, they were developing it. Like, they're the ones that are actually the people behind. So when the Alliance loses its power, the corporation starts to step in a little bit more, from the shadows. And to me, I would love to explore, corporations' power behind the scenes and exploiting, having some kind of new crew, new people somehow work to expose Blue Sun, right? And then Blue Sun working to stop them from being exposed. And there being like this shadow hacker war type thing that's going on,
bringing up Firefly, though, that's a good point. That something else that something like Wonder Woman lacked, and I think that a lot of companies dropped the ball on. And I think we could talk about without going into it, even though if you have not seen it, Steel. Oh, Jesus, Marty.
I don't even
get out of here.
Is that the Shaq movie?
This is the black Superman where he makes the suit of steel. Get out of here. Anyway, so I don't think this. If you have not seen it, I'm not going to get into it with a spoiler or anything. But the finale of The Mandalorian,
I've seen,
and
it.
You bringing up, I know you have, and you bringing up Firefly.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that those things have in common, and if you think about it, fan bases eat this stuff up, and I feel like there is a huge dropped ball by studios to not do this, and that is that part in a movie or in a show when you finally hit that apex with that person that you've watched grow.
Right.
That's what the Mandalorian season finale delivered. That's what it delivered. You finally got to see that character the way we've always wanted to see him.
Right. I think,
and that's what Firefly and Serenity finally delivered with the movie. Is you finally got to see River.
right. Well, I just got done watching. There's this woman who has been watching all the Firefly. Her name is Natalie Gold or something, and I've been watching her reaction videos. And she just watched the last episode of Firefly this last week.
Okay.
And even before the episode, she was talking about how, like, at the beginning, she didn't think she was going to really enjoy the show. And then every episode got better, and she didn't like Jane. And then she kind of liked Jane, like the humor parts of it a little bit.
Yeah.
And how he's not. And then she didn't like Simon, but then they did this episode. Now she likes Simon. And, like, all the characters, she said she finally, ended up growing on them except for River. She's like, I can't get a read on River. And then the last episode, of course, is all about River. And River growing and then becoming part of the crew, and then after that episode, okay, now River's in there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And it's fun to see the reaction in these people's journey of watching it for the first time, and and then in a couple months she's going to do the movie reaction. But back to what you were saying.
What you're saying, like all these shows like that. Yeah, that's seen. Like I was talking about, we just did on one of our YouTube videos, we unboxed something from Super Saiyan 2 Gohan from Dragon Ball Z, and you've watched all of Dragon Ball Z, right?
I've watched Dragon Ball Z. I stopped at Z.
So you got through the Cell Saga though.
Yes.
Okay, hands down, one of the best things ever in all of Dragon Ball is that scene where Cell crushes Android 18's head, or Android 16's head, and Gohan goes Super Saiyan 2. And you finally, because you think about it, all of Dragon Ball Z was building up to, you saw these like flashes of what Gohan was.
Right.
And then you finally get to see it. And so many shows just drop that ball. And that's what you look at. If you look at the great episodes of shows, Dragon Ball Z, Mandalorian, Firefly, I'm sure you can make an entire list. They follow that pattern,
right.
And people enjoy that pattern. And so then you look at these other things like Wonder Woman, like just drop the ball. Like there was no build, there was nothing.
Right. And again, it all starts with the villains. I mean, this was another thing about watching it again through her eyes, right?
Yeah.
The villains in every single episode are insanely amazing in Firefly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to even the last one, Earl Jubilee or whatever, one of the best villains. That guy was just insane. Are you a lion? Am I a lion? I don't know. Never thought of myself as a lion. You knocked Shepard out? That man ain't no shepherd. The him going crazy. I mean, his thing. Then you had Nishka. You had Bridget Safran, whatever her name is. Mrs. Reynolds. You had even their friend who mailed himself, dead to them. I mean,
yeah.
And he was like anti. Like every single villain or bad person or protagonist or antagonist, whatever, in Firefly, every episode had a great one to anchor each episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to, again, we're talking about villains, but back to Mandalorian, right? And Farva.
Yeah.
I watched an interview a little bit afterwards with Farva, and he talked about how the difference between like the trilogies in The Mandalorian and how everybody's getting so much love to him and hate on the others, he says, is because these shows have to earn it, right? You have to make people like the characters, like the story, like the villains, and these moments, like the finale of The Mandalorian, have to be earned. And you have to service multiple generations. Right, so like with Star Wars, it's hard, right? Because you have your original trilogy fanboys, You have your prequel fanboys, right? You have your animated fanboys, right? And girls.
There's prequel fanboys out
There
there.
are. I know a lot of people who grew up loving the prequels and not liking the originals,
Yeah.
right? I like the prequels except for the dialogue. The dialogue, was horrible written. I'm like,
I remember here's the cool thing about the prequels for me, because I was of that age, and I, regardless of what people think, you are of that age as well.
mm-hmm.
That I saw the originals obviously at home,
Right, me too.
and then you see these like dated graphics and everything, and then I remember going to the movie theater to see my first Star Wars, and obviously it was Episode 1.
Me too.
And so I think there's a feeling for us there.
Right.
That being said, the story wise,
yeah,
it
was lacking. I mean, it wasn't like, it was still a really good movie compared to like other movies, but not compared to like, what we were hoping for, I should say. This is a part about expectations and reality.
So, okay, you talk about that. I think where the newest trilogy fell is, I think what happened is that you had episode 7 set up this expectation.
Right.
Where it's like, okay, we're going to get back to the original trilogy. We're going to
repeat the original trilogy.
Well, not just repeat, but they're like, here, we're going to harken back to all of this.
Right.
But now we're going to give you what you didn't get.
Right.
And then they didn't do it.
It's like, we're going to reboot it while not rebooting it.
We're going to do this. We're going to, because the episode 7 almost was like them saying, we hear you, we know what you want, and we're going to give it to you. You just have to come see episode 8 and 9.
Right. I just
and then episode 8 and 9 didn't do it.
I actually just watched episode 9 for the first time last week.
Okay.
Because I missed it. I was going to watch it in the theater, and then I didn't get a chance to get down to Vegas to watch it, and then I just forgot.
Yeah.
And then I was never really in the mood to like pop it on, and I just finished The Mandalorian. I'm like, you know what? I want to go back and just watch this last episode and complete that trilogy, right?
Yeah.
And then I remembered what it was about the first two that I didn't like. And this one it's the same thing that I didn't like about Wonder Woman. It's choppy. The story jumps around too much. They don't develop anything. They go from one scene to the next scene to the next scene with like no reasons, rhymes, and it's just like, we're just going to time jump, and there's going to be no development whatsoever. We're just going to assume all of the development by showing like not even a montage, but like, oh, we're jumped from this planet to this planet, so there's a whole bunch of stuff that happened in between that jump that we're going to assume now she knows how to use a saber. Now she knows how to do this. Now he struggled a little bit more, and now this person, like, it just was jumpy. Like, it wasn't smooth, right? And the villain, there was no villain. There was a guy in a cloud somewhere on a planet that they didn't know about but there was no villain. There was
Do you feel that beginning with episode 7 that they always were going to have him be the villain, or do you think that was an audible?
I see. That's the thing is, I feel like they mad libbed the whole thing. Like, like that was the other thing. The Kylo Ren character was so all over the place. Like, 1 minute I'm going to help her, next minute I don't want to help her, next minute I want to rule, the next minute I don't want to rule, the next person, like, I don't like him, so I'm just going to kill him. The next, like, where is he? And then when she kisses him at the end, like, where'd that come from? Like, all of a sudden, when he just before he just like disappears into the Force.
Yep.
And she kisses him. Like, okay, so for a while there, you thought he was your brother. Now he's not. Like, it's like,
it was.
Like I said, it just jumped around so much. And again, I got the same feelings that I got from Wonder Woman. That from watching those movies, just.
Yeah, it was interesting to say the least.
But again, and that's why I like The Mandalorian. And again, this is why I've also liked the TV series format versus the movie formats, right? Because it allows for these developments and payoffs, like My Hero Academia, right? The first villain, the guy with the hands, right? We're like in season 4 now, and we still haven't really got our showdown with him, right? So that's how much they're developing that character.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're developing the villain and the hero simultaneously.
I could definitely I get that part of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and it's just the whole anti-villain, the whole like you have to make these characters like, and that same thing with Thanos, right? We got to see parts of Thanos here and there. You got to see his rationality, and at some point she could be like, "Yeah, I agree with him somewhat, but it's still a horrible thing to do." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's especially when they show him retired off on a planet just farming and all broken. You know what I mean? He's like, I did what I did. And my payoff was to retire broken on a island by myself.
Hey, I got to show you something. I need to know if you've seen this because I posted it in the bunker. I don't know if you saw it, but in my opinion, this is the meme of 2020.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's do it. Will you teach? No, I don't believe in quoting anymore. All right, I get it.
That's because that's literally what he did with that series.
Right.
He's like, no. And then you got Favreau who's like, well, let's show this person who he really is.
Well, I watched after I watched The Mandalorian, right? Because you know how I'm a big fan of reaction videos, and I sent you that that mashup of like 50 different YouTubers reacting to the finale.
Yeah.
Then I watched the Kevin Smith's reaction to the finale, an interview, and Kevin Smith was just gushing about Favreau.
Yep.
Right. And about how like he'd go over to his house and he's like the guy has like every single Star Wars toy and would make his own little movies and he would play like you don't want to ever just play Star Wars with Favreau. You just want to sit back and watch him play with them. Yeah. Like cuz he's just, and again he goes and all these things have to be earned, right? Like when you're watching The Mandalorian and all the way he balances, right? Developing the new characters, right? Developing side characters, bringing in stuff for the animated people, right? With like the Ashkatana, right? I mean, that whole episode was a samurai movie. It was a 1 hour samurai movie, right? You had the rogue, the samurai, the villain in the village, the showdown at the end, it was a samurai movie in 1 hour, right? You had the developing of the characters throughout the things. You had different flavors for different episodes, and there was always a shout out to somebody, a recall to somewhere, some Easter egg, somewhat, and then it all comes together and it pays off, right? Like he was able to find the balance to provide a show that every single generation could enjoy.
Yeah.
New people, old people, medium people, like whatever color on the Star Wars wheel you're in, there's something in The Mandalorian for you.
Like I think you and I touched on it last week, and I think it's a good place kind of to. It's funny because I think we kind of left on this last week, and it kind of came back full circle again. Right now, the world belongs to John and to Kai.
Right.
It's them. You know what I mean? It's
There's also I would throw into that mix, right? One other person, hero, two other people that I think right now Takai and Favreau are getting all the attention, but two to watch, right? Is Hero.
that the guy who did the host?
Hero Murray. Hero Murai. He did Atlanta, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's also did that show Barry. He's done some episodes of that. He did an episode of Snowfall, Legion. Some of the best. Like, he is gonna end up. I think he's got his own series coming out called Station 11. I wonder when this was picked up, but the description for Station 11 is survivors of a devastating flu pandemic try to rebuild their lives after losing everything.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
But it has Mackenzie Davis in it. She's awesome.
Yeah. Who's your other one?
And the other one is, let's see here. Noah Hawley, whatever. He did Legion.
Okay.
Right? You remember Legion.
I do.
He also did Fargo, the TV series. He's also going to be doing the new Alien TV series.
Okay.
And it looks like he's also going to be on board to do the new Star Trek movie.
Nice.
So, but both of those two guys are probably two to watch for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one that I would throw in a hat at, throw the name in the hat for, is Ari Astor. Ari Astor did Hereditary. This is obviously from the horror movie side of things.
Right.
But Hereditary, Midsummer. He supposedly is working on a 4-hour long dark comedy.
Okay.
That's his next project. But he has this incredible ability, and it's funny. I know people. I'm one of those people that if you can produce something and make me feel something physically by what you produce, I'm impressed.
Right.
And Ari Aster has this ability to make you feel absolute dread. He just has a way to make you feel absolutely disgusting, absolute dread. Like you watch his movie and you need to take a break from life.
Yeah.
And it's a talent, but yeah, no, I think the next 10 years for Takai and for John are going to be big.
Well, I mean, look at what John's just resume. Like, he doesn't get enough credit.
No, he does not.
I mean, he rebooted Marvel. He's the one who did Iron Man. You know what I mean? And Iron Man 2 kind of went away, and he got kind of shut out of Marvel. You know?
Yeah.
And they, but it was him and who worked with them and got his vision. Started the ball rolling. But I did hear that Robert Downey Jr. just signed a 5-picture deal with Marvel.
Oh, and I had heard rumor that he was coming back because he wasn't really happy with the way his movies had gone after he left.
Yeah. And I think he just missed it as well, probably.
Yeah. I mean, it was good.
I mean, when you could show up, a couple days, here and there and make $15 million.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, I'm excited for the next generation of Marvel and Star Wars. And you know what? I have to say, I'm loving Star Trek Discovery.
I have to watch that. I have to watch Star Trek Discovery. I want to watch the new Twilight Zone on CBS.
That is horrible.
Because you don't like it?
Yeah, it's a waste.
See, that's another person, though, that I think Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele has the potential to be one of those with Us and with Get Out.
Right.
Did you ever see Get Out?
Yeah, I saw them both. They're really good. I liked them both.
Get Out was an incredibly well done movie. So
Yeah, he has
anyway,
another project that was pretty good. He's producing a lot of stuff right now.
yeah, he's another in demand name. So,
but yeah,
it's going to be exciting 2021. Let's put it that way.
Especially since a lot of 2020 stuff got pushed into 2021.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about if the world opens up, I think right now they're projecting June or July, right?
Who knows, man? Like I said, we're at the height of this thing, right? And people are acting like it's over. Like I just saw somebody posted pictures from Disney World in Orlando, and I'm like, seriously?
Is it just packed for New Year's?
Yeah, like they're just, you know what I mean? Like people are acting like literally in Los Angeles right now. If you show up or call with like a heart attack or some kind of like emergency thing, they're like, sorry, we can't do anything. We have no room. Like there's no triage going on. Like they have no beds. One nurse was talking about like a lot of the ER stuff that they need, they no longer have. You know, like there just isn't, if you come in with like an emergency, you better either take care of yourself or you're not getting serviced. You know what I mean? Like and this was the problem they always said, that it wasn't always so much that the kill rate, is 1%, which is, a lot when you're dealing with millions of people, but it was the fact that it was going to take up so much stress on the infrastructure of the system that other things were going to get pushed to the side, and then those were going to cascade into, stuff.
Yeah. With that said, I think everybody go out and find a extremely large party for New Year's.
Yeah, I have been seeing a lot of the videos too trending though the other way, like on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Like, before you'd see a lot more of the party videos. Now, one person walks into a store without a mask and everybody stops, turns, and tells them to get out. Customer wise. Like everybody
stops, turns, and grabs a Twisted Tea.
Yeah, it's seriously like the amount of people that try to like walk into places, it's just, you see now like people like, it ain't no joke. You're putting everybody in danger.
Yeah.
But all right,
everybody. We appreciate you coming and hanging out with us for New Year's Eve.
Yeah, we felt like we just had to get out there.
Ooh, you know what we should end this with, actually?
A song?
No. Give us a because okay, so for people that
don't know, the problem is I can't
no...
give a hint for this month because other than it, the person's a character actor and really well known for one show.
Okay, how about this? So normally there's variants. There's no variants this month.
Right.
So it's just one autograph this month for the Autograph of the Month Club, if you don't know what we're talking about. But you have our standard ones. Okay, so you say character actor, well-known show.
How about this?
Male, female.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
TV shows this person's been in. Bones, Numbers, The Mentalist, Crime Story, Longmire, Colony, West Wing, House, Burn Notice.
Jesus.
But there's over, like, each one of the shows has over 400 or 500 people.
So you have to give us our normal ones.
Huh?
Male or female, and older or younger than you.
Male.
Okay.
And I'm going to say same age as me.
Ooh.
Like, it's around the same age. Like, I can't.
So it's not a big enough age difference.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have to look it up, but if I looked it up, then you would see who it is. Because you can see my screen.
I can see your screen. Don't do that.
But, like...
Because I don't want to be spoiled. Contrary to what everybody believes, I don't know who Marco gets to sign. I asked Marco not to spoil it. There was one time that I got Marco to slip up, but I had already guessed it a week before. So
yeah.
So contrary to what everybody believes, I have no inside information. Do you know how much in my messages I get, hey, do you know who so-and-so's getting the sign? Either it's you or, Mintage or Lance or like all the companies are like, hey, do you know who so and so? I'm like, no, I want to be surprised just like all of you guys. Like, I love that surprise.
Well, I think what it
So
is they want to know so they can go jump on a deal right afterwards.
yeah, you know what? It's always the value is there. That's what
So
matters.
that's what, like there was somebody like there's a guy who buys probably close to $500 to $600 worth of stuff for me every year, but he won't sign up to the club. Right. And it's just because it's not narrow enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey, should still sign up $20 a month. It supports it, blah blah blah. But starting tomorrow, we'll be launching the My Fandom Network.
That's big too.
And
we got things in the works.
So, yeah, that will be amazing.
It will be, and we got bunker boxes.
Bunker boxes. You guys don't know what those are, but
we got stuff coming.
2021.
For the people that are in this, right now, still, I see 6 people in here still.
Maybe
we got shit coming. So anyway,